Welcome on Toronto home series winner player for the Ultra, Methodz. Methodz, talk to me, man. Did you think we'd be leaving the Toronto home series argued as the most difficult event of the year with the Ultra on top?
I mean, listen, I was definitely confident, but I wouldn't say I was I was confident, but at the same time, like, I'm going into it as a realist, thinking this is the hardest tournament of the year.
Mm-hmm.
I know how my team can play when we're at the top of our game. We've proved it. You know, it just so happens that we kept building ourselves up to these semifinals and then losing. So I knew that if we just showed up and knew what we had to do, we could get it done, and we got it done. So couldn't be happier. I mean, just the amount of relief making winners bracket for champs and winning our home series, it just meant so much to me, the team, the organization. Just I'm so happy for it to finally come together after, you know, months of falling short.
Sure, man. Well, I know what kind of coming into the event, kind of given the group, the matchups that you guys had, how did you kind of feel about the team's road?
We knew it was going to be tough, but our coach, Marky B, you know, him and our analyst Flux, they put in a lot of work, and they pretty much just kept reiterating, you know, if we go into all these matches with a set game plan, we do our homework, we figure out what we want to do, and then we execute that plan, we'll be looking pretty. And you know, he was right. I'm super happy for him. I know how stressed he's been all year, just because you know, I don't have personal experience, but I can only imagine as a coach watching your team play, it's just so much more stressful than actually being in the game. So happy for him, so happy for Flux. They put in a lot of work, and I'm just so happy to see it all pan out. That being said, champs is coming up. We're back to being dog shit. You know, we gotta we gotta refocus and you know, come with a new game plan.
Sure. Well, I know you talked on Marky B, probably watching from the sidelines. Everyone always talks, but it's like the regular line is like COD is a lot more stressful to watch than it is to play, and especially with how often that you guys were kind of in these clutch moments. I'm sure you know, Mark, you may have a few more gray hairs possibly by the end of this, maybe by the end of this event, and kind of looking forward. But like I said, clutch was kind of one of the key attributes for you guys this weekend. What the Ultra went game 5, rather they went to kind of a game 5 in terms of this weekend. A number of different times we saw you guys in terms of search and destroy go round 10 in terms of your victories 3 different times. We saw you go round 11 2 different times, and both of those victories were on St. Petro versus Dallas. You guys win the hard points 250-247, 250-244. The hard point win versus Atlanta was 240-247. Methodz, what kind of led to the Ultra's consistency in the clutch?
It had to happen. I think that we botched so many clutch moments this year, like that we were just owed a tournament full of clutches, and it just sort of all worked out. I think I saw Miles say something like Cinderella is going to the ball or something like that. It was just, that's pretty much what it was. I mean, for me personally, I've had some pretty bad clutches in my day, and I've heard an earful from teammates, colleagues, peers, you name it, I've heard it. So for that to be me at the end in that one clutch was unreal. The amount of clutch I saw from my teammates this weekend was also unreal. I mean, we have a lot of unsung heroes where a lot of gas plays from me and Cammy, which were the high impact moments. But we have some unsung heroes where my teammates made huge plays that sort of flew under the radar. And if they didn't set the game up that way, we probably wouldn't even have made it to the point where we had those big clutch moments. So literally every single player just did their part, and it was a tournament of clutches, and I can only hope that next tournament's the same thing.
Absolutely, man. Well, that's kind of your first tournament victory since was it, Rise Nation back in Atlanta, as you kind of alluded to it already. Round 11s haven't really kind of favored you over the past few titles. Did that win specifically kind of feel like redemption?
Oh, I mean, I can't think of a better way to redeem myself. I mean, this is a grand final versus Atlanta FaZe, who are undoubtedly a top 2 team in the game all year long. So it was big for me. It was big for the team. Everybody started screaming. You know, I'm just so happy we can get Cammy and CleanX their first championship. Obviously, classic events that they've been around a while too, but I think whenever you win, it's just such a special feeling because a lot of time goes into this. You know, you have a lot of people who say you play video games for a living, you know, blah blah blah. It's a lot more stressful than people think. There's a lot of hours that go into it. We're essentially competing every single day to keep our jobs. I mean, we are one of 60 players in one of the biggest leagues in the world. So it can be stressful when things aren't going too hot. So when they're going well, they're going well, and it's a great feeling.
Well, the Game 5, Round 11 versus FaZe, like I said, it kind of comes all down to you. Kind of walk me through that round a bit, right? You kind of make it a 4v4. The bomb kind of gets wrapped toward A. Walk me through it. What kind of happens from there?
Yeah, so I mean, let me start from the beginning. Vance thinks he's Jason Bourne, runs down the middle of the map and gets first blooded, and we're automatically in a 4v5. I was like, oh shit, here we go. And then I'm top window and I see Celium. And to be fair, he made a pretty bad play here. He was on a head glitch and pretty much had his trap, and he sort of wide peeked off and challenged me. I pretty much got a free pick on him. We rotate the bomb A. Simp starts shooting at my teammate from behind me. I turn around, pick him. So we're in a 3v3 now because I believe someone else got traded. Trades go down. You know, I'm in the 1v2. Priesta comes right next to me. I get a free kill, and I'm left in the 1v1 with Major Maniac, and I just jump the corner and kill him. You know, but my mindset, I can't even tell you what I was thinking because I think I blacked out at this point. I don't even remember. I started screaming, standing up, going nuts. But I know I wanted to make a play before the round could get any longer. Like, I wasn't going to like hide and let him think or make a play. Like, I wanted to chase that red dot and get that kill immediately, and it just so happened it worked. So a lot of screaming, a lot of surprise, you know, for my teammates. They probably saw me in the 1v2 and they're like, oh, not him. No way. But, you know, hopefully this changed the reputation around my name and realize, you know, I'm a reformed man. I'm clutch now.
I love that, man. I absolutely love it. Well, kind of walk me through the timeline a little bit of what happens after the clutch, right? You set down the controller. What happens next?
Stand up, I start screaming, I start throwing my fist, I check Twitter and I see just thousands and hundreds of notifications saying Chef Tony, Chef Zinni. My dad's freaking out, my whole family's freaking out. It was just, you know, it's hard to put into words. You know, it was sort of like my first championship, obviously a little bit different. We're in our apartments, no teammates next to you to hug or high five, so definitely a little different of a vibe, but I just felt so good, man. Like, when I first came to Toronto, my goal was to win championships, and you could definitely say throughout this year we have not even been close to that. So to do it at our own home series, where I would say it matters the most, you know, right before champs, we have the momentum going in. It's just big, and like I said earlier, I think the next thing to do is just take a step back, you know, sort of get off our high horse and prepare like we just lost. Because if we practice for champs as if we just won, we won't be successful. So we need to really get back to that humble state. You know, we may have won a championship, but that's in the past now. We need to look forward to the big one.
Absolutely, man. Well, tell me quickly, why was it this weekend that it clicked for the Ultra? As you kind of talked about a little bit, you know, it's kind of been a year of trying to kind of get to this moment. Why was it this weekend specifically that it managed to click finally?
I think it had a lot to do with personal frustrations. I think we were all pretty angry. I was especially angry at myself. I feel like in the New York home series, we lost in semifinals. I feel like I single-handedly threw that game away. Like, I single-handedly costed 2 maps, and that killed me because I've been doing this for a while. And when you have teammates riding on you, there's nothing worse than letting them down. So I was super frustrated with myself. I think my whole team was frustrated with everything. Their performance, our team's performance. We kind of knew coming into this that we had to go far to make winners for champs, and that would really make all of our lives a little easier. You know, you don't want to go into champs and have one lifeline. You know, having 2 is important.
Mm-hmm.
So we worked really hard. We game planned really well. Like I said, I'll shout out Marky B and Flux again. They made sure that we were not going into any situation blind. They did their research, and we all just sort of watched everything together, talked over things, and really made sure that we knew what we wanted to do at any given moment. And then the pieces sort of just came together, and there we were, champions. So it's still hard to believe, but I'm just happy we got it done.
Well, obviously, with that victory, you know, here in Toronto, as you kind of alluded to it gives you guys the 7th seed coming into playoffs, of which your first round is going to be against the Ravens. Kind of give me a little bit of an initial take. How do you feel about that matchup versus London?
For sure. I mean, it's not going to be an easy one. You know, I think we're at the point in the year where pretty much every game you go into, you should be anticipating a tough match. I mean, we can look at Paris and their run. I think it's safe to say, looking at Paris and even our team, no one really expected these teams to be as good as they were. And it's going to be a tough one. I think there's a little European, rivalry going on there. Obviously my team's mostly European. They have a European team. They're all pretty good friends. So I think both teams really want to beat each other really bad. And it's also huge just to kick off the tournament. Your first match is just so important when it comes to momentum and confidence. So just going to game plan, sort of try to revamp our gameplay a little bit. Obviously, when you win, I think a lot of teams will start looking at you and seeing what you did right, what you did wrong. And I think it's important we really adapt on the fly and change up what we do a little bit.
Well, it's fair to say, Zin, this champs is definitely going to be a unique one, right? This is your 5th champs, is that right?
5th? What I play? Black Ops 3, IW, World War II,
Black Ops 4.
Yeah, it is. Wow, I've had a horrible track record of champs.
Well, talk to me a little bit. Obviously, as someone who's competed at multiple, what's different around the preparation for this one in comparison to the others?
Yeah, I mean, I think for me personally, I think for a lot of those COD champs, I wasn't really going into that with, a high tier team. It was more so we sort of had like amateur level teams. Not amateur, but like you get what I'm saying. We didn't have those super, high impact teams. I think now I do, and I think now it's a lot easier to game plan because you only have sort of 12 teams to look at, whereas in the older format, you have a bunch of teams that come from different brackets, and obviously we're on LAN, so it's a different world. We have to adjust to it. I think what's important is going into the tournament as if you're sitting there in person. Like, you can't go in there with any less energy than you would if you were on the stage with your teammates. We really need to prepare, and we need to bring that intensity as soon as we step foot into that first map.
I got to ask you, this is very important to me, as you've kind of alluded to, the chef persona. Did you have a chicken parm after the W?
Yeah, so not the night of, because the night of we had a team dinner. Luckily here in Toronto, things are really going well, and COVID's pretty contained. So they opened some patios up. We got phase 3 starting Friday. We had a nice team meal, and then the night after, I had myself a day. I had McDonald's for lunch. I had chicken parm for dinner. I had cookies. I had a little relapse, but back on track now. Woke up to 30 push-ups. We'll work that off.
Definitely, man. Well, definitely. That's Methodz Toronto Home Series winner. Chicken parm expert player for the Ultra. Zin, thanks so much for taking the time. Congrats on the win, and best of luck in playoffs, my friend.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate it.